What if the reason you hate exercise is not weakness, not failure, and not a lack of discipline? What if your body is doing exactly what human bodies were shaped to do for thousands of years, and modern life has turned that wisdom into guilt? Welcome to Dr. Daniel Podcast. Host: I am Dr. James, and today we are talking with Dr. Daniel Lieberman about a question that hits millions of people right in the heart. Why does the gym feel so unnatural for so many of us, even when we know movement is good for us? Dr. Lieberman, thank you for being here.
It is a pleasure to be here, Dr. James.
I want to begin with something personal, because I think many people listening know this feeling. They promise themselves they will start on Monday. Monday comes, the shoes stay by the door, the gym bag stays in the car, and by night they feel ashamed. They think, maybe something is wrong with me. Is that where the story already goes wrong?
Yes, that is exactly where the story goes wrong. Most people think that if they do not want to exercise, they are being lazy. But from an evolutionary view, that feeling is normal. Human beings evolved to save energy when extra effort was not needed. For most of history, calories were precious. Wasting energy could be dangerous. So the brain learned a simple lesson. If you do not have to do hard physical work, do not.
That is such a relief to hear, because it changes the whole emotional tone. You are saying the resistance is not proof that the body is broken. It is proof that the body is ancient.
Exactly. Your body is not broken. Your body is old in the best and deepest sense. It was shaped in a world where movement had a purpose. People walked to get food. They carried children. They gathered wood. They climbed, dug, lifted, and sometimes ran. But they did not wake up and say, I am going to jog for 40 minutes because I want better cholesterol numbers.
That line alone is going to make people stop and think. Because modern people hear humans evolved to move, and then they assume that means humans evolved to love workouts. But those are not the same thing, are they?
Not at all. We evolved to be physically active. We did not evolve to exercise in the modern sense, which means voluntary movement done for health and fitness. That is a very new idea. Our ancestors moved when it was necessary or when it was rewarding. That is the hidden key, necessary or rewarding. If we forget that, we start blaming people for being human.
Let us stay there, because I think this is where many listeners feel seen for the first time. A person can know exercise is good. They can believe the science. They can even want the benefits. But when the moment comes, their whole body says no. What is that body actually responding to?
It is responding to a mismatch. That means the world around us changed faster than the body could change. Modern life removed movement from daily survival. Food arrives at the door. Stairs become elevators. Work becomes screens. Entertainment becomes sitting. So now we live in bodies that still expect movement, but in environments that do not require it. That creates confusion. The body still benefits from movement, but the brain still resists unnecessary effort.
So the real problem is not that people are weak. The real problem is that modern life made movement optional.
Yes, that is the real problem. And once movement becomes optional, it becomes much harder. Optional things are easy to delay, easy to negotiate with, easy to feel guilty about. But when movement is built into life, it feels more normal.
That explains something I have seen in ordinary life. A tired parent can walk all day in an airport with children and bags and somehow survive. But the idea of 20 minutes on a treadmill feels almost painful before it even starts.
That is a very good example. The airport walking has a purpose. The treadmill does not. Purpose changes everything, so does reward. Dancing, playing a sport with friends, walking with a neighbor, working in a garden, carrying groceries home. These often feel easier to sustain because they are connected to life, not separated from it.
I think a lot of people have quietly believed that if exercise does not feel good to them, then they are doing life wrong. But maybe the gym itself is part of the emotional barrier.
For some people, yes. Let me be clear, gyms are not bad. They can be extremely useful. They are tools. But we should not confuse the tool with the need. The need is movement. The body does not care whether the load comes from a dumbbell, a child, a bag of soil, or a set of stairs. The body responds to challenge, repetition, strain, and recovery.
That is a powerful myth-busting moment. Because many people hear this title and think, are you saying the gym is useless? But that is not what you mean.
Not at all. I am saying the gym is one modern way to solve a modern problem. It can work very well. But if people think I hate the gym, so I guess I am doomed, that is false. Walking counts. Carrying counts. Climbing counts. Yard work counts. Playing counts. Strength work at home counts. The body needs movement, not membership.
I want to talk about shame because I think shame has done real damage. People hear fitness culture say, no excuses, push harder, get up earlier, stop being soft. It sounds strong, but for many people it just creates silence and failure. Is shame a bad teacher here?
Shame is often a terrible teacher. It may create short bursts of action, but it rarely builds a healthy relationship with movement. If somebody already feels tired, heavy, embarrassed, or afraid, shame adds one more burden. A more helpful message is this: your resistance is normal, but inactivity still has costs. So let us work with human nature, not against it.
That is such an important balance. Compassion, but not denial. Understanding, but not surrender.
Exactly. We do not want to say it is natural to avoid exercise, so do nothing. We want to say it is natural to resist needless effort, so build movement in ways that feel meaningful, social, doable, and regular.
Let me ask the question that millions of people secretly ask. If humans were not meant to go to the gym, then what were humans meant to do?
Humans were meant to walk a lot. That is probably the most important answer. We are remarkable walkers. We also evolved to carry, lift, climb, dig, squat, throw, and sometimes run. Not all day without rest. That is another myth. People imagine our ancestors as endless exercise machines. They were not. They also rested whenever they could. Rest was smart, but their days still included much more natural movement than most modern days.
That is surprising, because some people think the ancient world was non-stop effort from sunrise to sunset.
No, human beings have always been economical. We are designed to avoid needless waste. But there is a big difference between strategic rest and total sedentariness. Rest after effort is healthy. Living with almost no effort is a different story.
And that brings us to another myth. People hear scary lines like sitting is the new smoking. Is that true?
I think that phrase goes too far. Sitting is normal. Human beings have always sat. The problem is not sitting itself. The problem is sitting for very long periods without interruption, and then doing too little movement during the rest of the day. If you sit for work, that does not mean you are doomed, but it helps to get up often, move around, stretch, walk to the kitchen, take the stairs, or stand for a few minutes. Small breaks matter.
That is another relief. Not because it lowers the standard, but because it makes the problem feel solvable. A person at a desk does not need to panic. They need to interrupt the pattern.
Yes, think less in terms of fear and more in terms of rhythm. The body likes rhythm. Sit, then move. Work, then walk. Use the muscles often enough that the body remembers they are needed.
You often say that what most people do not realize is that exercise is not just about burning calories. This is where things get fascinating because many people stop moving when the scale does not change. What is the body actually getting from movement beyond weight?
A great deal. Movement helps the heart, blood vessels, blood sugar control, immune function, mood, sleep, bone strength, and muscle maintenance. It also sends signals to the brain. One of those signals involves a substance called BDNF. That is a complicated name, but in simple terms, it helps support brain cells and brain connections. So movement is not just about looking different. It helps the body repair and maintain itself.
So when somebody says, I walked today, but I only burned a little, they may be missing the deeper payoff.
Very much so. Walking may not burn huge numbers of calories quickly, but it turns on many healthy systems. That is why it is so powerful. People often overlook what is simple, but simple things done often can change a life.
I want to bring in aging because this is where your work becomes deeply emotional. Many people accept decline too early. They say, I am getting older. Of course I should slow down. Of course I should sit more. Of course weakness is just part of the deal. Is that one of the most harmful myths?
I believe it is. Of all the times in life to stay active, older age may be the most important. As we age, we lose muscle if we do not use it. We lose strength, we lose balance. Bone becomes weaker, daily tasks become harder, but movement can slow much of that decline. In fact, humans are unusual because we evolved to live long after having children. In the past, older adults often stayed active and helped children and grandchildren survive. So the idea that later life should be passive is not deeply human. It is deeply modern.
That lands hard. Because many listeners have watched a parent retire and then shrink, not only in body but in spirit. Less walking, less lifting, less purpose, and then the body seems to fade faster.
Yes, I have seen that pattern too. Retirement can become a danger if it means retiring from movement. The body follows demand. If there is no reason to stay strong, the body starts to let strength go. That is why I tell older adults not to think, how little can I safely do? I encourage them to ask, how can I keep giving my body reasons to stay capable?
That may be one of the most hopeful lines in this entire conversation. Give the body a reason to stay capable.
And that reason does not need to be extreme. This is very important. People do not need marathons. They do not need punishing boot camps. Even modest amounts of regular activity help. Walking more helps. Strength training a few times a week helps. Balance work helps. Carrying groceries helps. Climbing stairs helps. Some is better than none, and a little more is often better than that.
Let us make this practical because I can almost hear the audience asking, fine, but what do I actually do tomorrow morning? Not in theory, in real life. I am busy, tired, maybe older, maybe out of shape, maybe ashamed. Where do I start?
Start smaller than your guilt wants you to start. That is the first step. If you try to erase 10 years of inactivity in 1 week, you will usually fail. Start with a walk, 10 minutes after breakfast, 10 minutes after dinner. Park farther away. Carry something, stand up every half hour if you can, then add a little strength work 2 or 3 times a week. It does not need to be fancy. Sit down and stand up from a chair. Use light weights, use bands, do wall push-ups, build from there.
That sounds almost too simple, and I think that is why people ignore it. They think if it feels simple, it cannot be powerful.
But the body is not confused by simplicity. The body responds to use, muscles respond to use, bones respond to use, the heart responds to use, the brain responds to use. Complexity is often for marketing. Biology often prefers consistency.
What about the person who says, I have tried before, and I always stop? Is there a hidden reason people quit that most advice misses?
Yes, most people try to rely on willpower alone, but willpower is fragile. A better strategy is to make movement necessary or rewarding. Meet a friend for a walk, join a class where people expect you, walk the dog at the same time every day. Put strength exercises next to a routine you already have, like making coffee or brushing your teeth. If movement lives inside life, it survives longer.
So the answer is not just motivation, it is design.
Exactly. Design beats desire. Build a life where movement has a place, a time, a reason, or a person attached to it.
I also want to ask about fear. Many people, especially older adults, are afraid that if they start moving more, they will get hurt. They have bad knees, sore backs, stiff hips. They have heard that running destroys the knees. They have heard that exercise wears the body out. What is the truth?
The truth is more nuanced and more hopeful. Running does not automatically destroy the knees. For many people, it is not harmful at all if they build up gradually and use good form. But not everybody needs to run. Walking is excellent. Strength work can protect joints by improving muscle support. The key is progression. Do not jump from nothing to too much. Respect pain, build slowly, and if someone has a medical condition or severe symptoms, it is wise to talk to a clinician.
That is responsible and reassuring. Not fear, not fantasy.
Yes, movement should be challenging, but it should also be sustainable. We want people to think in years, not in one heroic week.
Before we close, I want to return to the emotional heart of this whole conversation. There are people listening right now who have spent years believing they failed because they could not force themselves into modern fitness culture. What would you say directly to them?
I would say this: please stop confusing struggle with weakness. Your body is not betraying you. Your body is responding to an ancient world inside a modern one. You were not designed to love pointless effort. You were designed to conserve energy and to move when life gave movement meaning. So do not hate your instincts. Learn them, work with them, then gently rebuild movement in ways your body can understand.
That is beautiful, truly, because it turns blame into understanding and understanding into action.
And action does not need to be dramatic. A walk with a friend, a few squats from a chair, a trip up the stairs, carrying your own bags, playing with grandchildren, those are not small things. They are deeply human things.
Then maybe the real message is not that humans were never meant to go to the gym. Maybe it is that humans were always meant to move, and the gym is only one possible answer to a modern problem.
I think that is exactly right.
Dr. Lieberman, this has been calming, surprising, and deeply hopeful. You have not told people to push harder. You have told them to understand themselves better, and that may be what finally helps them move.
Thank you, Dr. James. I hope people take away one simple idea. Do not wait to feel like a perfect exerciser. Just find more ways to move through life, and let that be enough to begin.
If this conversation spoke to something you have quietly felt for years, I hope you carry one truth with you today. You are not lazy because the gym feels hard. You are human, but you are also capable of building a life that helps your body feel remembered again. Thank you for being with us on Dr. Daniel Podcast. If this episode gave you relief or changed how you think about your own body, share your thoughts in the comments, send it to someone who needs hope, and stay with us for the next conversation.